In this presentation, we are going through the sludge treatment process. So there are mainly two end products obtained from various wastewater treatment plant. The two end products are, first one it is the effluent, second one it is the sludge. So the treated effluent we can directly discharge either in the receiving water or on the land. And however this sludge we have to first process before the final disposal. So why we are processing this sludge is that objective of processing sludge it is to extract water from the solids and dispose the dewater residue through a combination of various physical, chemical and biological operations. So always we have to treat this sludge. The sludge contains mainly 95 to 98% of moisture. So if you are removing that moisture from the sludge get solidified and we can just dispose onto this sun drying beds. After drying, that sludge we can use for the various irrigation purpose for agricultural fields, etc. So sludge treatment is most important treatment in a wastewater treatment unit. So normally the sludge we can classify it into three: the primary sludge, the secondary sludge and the tertiary sludge. And this sludge we have to treat it by various processes. So let us go through the sludge treatment process. The first one it is thickening, sludge thickening or sludge concentration. Second one sludge digestion. Third one it is conditioning. Fourth one it is dewatering. Fifth one drying. Then sixth one it is incineration. After incineration process only the sludge treatment process completes. So in this presentation we will just go through the first two methods, sludge thickening or sludge concentration or sludge digestion. In the settling tank, normally what happens is that the sludge will be deposited at the bottom and the effluent will be on the top, and the effluent we can remove and the sludge we can take out from the bottom of the settling tank and we can send to the sludge digestion tanks. So the sludge thickening, it helps to increase the load on the digester, so which requires only less digester volume, and it increases the feed solids, that is the solid concentration it increases. Then it is economized, that is it is very economical to transport that sludge having free from that water content, and the handling cost of the sludge also we can minimize it within the plant and for the final disposal, and minimize the land required and handling cost for final disposal of the digester sludge on the land. We can, if the land required is very less in such cases, then we can do the sludge thickening so that we can reduce the moisture content and remaining only few solids that we can dispose it onto the land also. And we can save the fuel also if incineration is practiced. So these are the various uses of sludge thickening. There are different methods of sludge thickening. The three methods are gravity thickening, then air flotation method, and the third one is centrifugation. So the most commonly used for concentrating the sludge it is the gravity thickening. So by providing this gravity thickening we can reduce the digester volume and the sludge handling cost can be saved. And this method it is used for primary sludge and also for combining primary and secondary sludge. Primary sludge means sludge that is coming from the primary settling tank, and secondary sludge means that's the sludge that is coming out from the secondary settling tank. And this is not used for the ASP sludge alone. ASP sludge means in the activated sludge treatment process there will be large amount of sludge is produced. When the quantity of sludge produced is very large, in such cases we cannot provide this gravity thickening. So when the ASP sludge, if it is more than 40% of the total combined sludge, then the gravity thickening it is not effective. And the gravity thickeners can be operated, either we can operate continuous as a continuous flow or full and draw type, that is intermittent. With or without chemical addition we can use. We can add chemicals, or without chemical addition also we can do this gravity thickening. Either we can operate it continuously or intermittently. And the thickened sludge that is withdrawn from the bottom of this gravity thickeners, they can be pumped to the sludge digester also, sludge digestion tank. And the supernatant or the clear liquid that is returned to the, that can be returned to the primary sedimentation tank. And the second method it is the air flotation method. In this method, how the sludge is thickened? It is thickened by applying the air under pressure or vacuum. So normally for the ASP sludge we can prefer this air flotation compared to that of the gravity flotation. Gravity thickening. Gravity thickening we cannot provide for this ASP sludge because in ASP the sludge will be more. So we can opt only this air flotation method. So this requires additional equipment is required, power is required for operation, skilled supervision is required for operation, and maintenance is required, and skilled supervisors is required for the maintenance also. So total cost will be higher compared to that of the gravity thickness. So it is better to remove the oil and grease, solids, odors, etc. by using this air flotation method. Compared to that of this gravity method, we can easily remove this oil, grease, solids, etc. and we can control the odor also. An addition of this alum and also polyelectrolytes, we can increase the efficiency of the flotation unit. Flotation unit is the most important unit in this air flotation method. So here either we can add alum or we can add both alum and polyelectrolytes. So here the alum, it will increase the sludge, but polyelectrolyte will not increase the solid concentration, but it improves the solid capture. Solid, it helps to capture it. About 90 to 98% of the solid it will capture. So both alum and the polyelectrolytes can be given to this air flotation unit. So flotation units are of two types, pressure type and also vacuum type. So pressure type flotation unit means a portion of the supernatant or the clear effluent, it is pressurized from 3 to 5 kg per centimeter square. Then again it is saturated with air in the pressure tank. It is mixed with the air. So the effluent from the pressure tank, what it does is that it is mixed with the influent sludge. Influent sludge means the sludge that is coming into the pressure tank, and the effluent from the pressure tank, it is mixed with the influent sludge immediately before it is released to the flotation tank. So once the pressure is released, what happens is that the excess dissolved air, it rises to the top. It rises up in the form of extremely small air bubbles. You can see small air bubbles onto the top attaching themselves to the sludge particles. So this imparts, it creates a buoyancy to the sludge particles, and what happens is that the sludge will be coming to the top and which can be take off easily, while the supernatant liquid or the effluent which is not recycled, it is returned to the wastewater treatment plant. So we can easily we can remove the sludge from the top. So dissolved air flotation, it offers significant advantages in thickening light sludge such as the activated sludge. So normally in ASPs, that is in activated sludge process treatment, we can use this air flotation methods to take away the sludge. Then second type of flotation is the vacuum type flotation. Either we can use pressure type flotation or we can use vacuum type flotation. So vacuum type flotation, this unit employs the addition of air saturation and applying vacuum to the unit. So when we apply vacuum to this unit, what happens is that it releases the air bubbles, so which make the solids float to the surface of the tank. And the solid concentrate at the surface, so we can easily remove it from the tank. So here we are applying vacuum. In the first case, we are applying pressure. So when the ASP sludge, if it is more than 40% of the total combined sludge, then the gravity thickening, it is not effective. And the gravity thickness can be operated, either we can operate continuous as a continuous flow or full and draw type, that is intermittent. With or without chemical addition we can use. By we can add chemicals, or without chemical addition also we can do this gravity thickening. Either we can operate it continuously or intermittently. And the thickened sludge that is withdrawn from the bottom of this gravity thickeners, they can be pumped to the sludge digester also, sludge digestion tank. And the supernatant or the clear liquid that is returned to the, that can be returned to the primary sedimentation tank. Now the second sludge treatment process, it is sludge digestion. So the main objective or the principal objective of sludge digestion is to subject the organic matter present in the settled sludge, either anaerobic decomposition or aerobic decomposition. So in the sludge digestion tank, the organic matter undergoes either anaerobic decomposition or aerobic decomposition. So after the decomposition, what happens is that sludge we can dispose it onto the sandbed, that is for dewatering. Or we can use some mechanical filters also, that is before the final disposal of the sludge. So in this anaerobic digestion process, what happens is that the organic material that is in the mixture of primary settled sludge and the biological sludge from the secondary clarifier, that sludge will be converted. It contains organic matters. That is, we are taking sludge from the primary settling tank, there will be sludge from the secondary clarifier also, there will be sludge. So when this sludge gets decomposed, what happens is that under anaerobic condition, it gets converted into methane gas and carbon dioxide gas. And this decomposition is carried out in an airtight reactor in the absence of oxygen. There, the anaerobic digestion takes place. In a sludge digestion tank, anaerobic decomposition takes place in the absence of oxygen because it is closed. If it is open, what happens is that the bad odor will be spreading to the surroundings, which is very nuisance. So always the tank, it is airtight reactor. It is an airtight reactor. And the sludge is introduced continuously or intermittent, and it is retained in this reactor for various period of time. It will be maintaining it for 2 months or 3 months. That sludge will be maintaining in that sludge digestion tank. So two basic processes involved in anaerobic digestion, they are liquefaction and also the gasification. And the stabilized sludge which is withdrawn continuously or intermittently from the sludge digestion tank, it is non-putrescible and its pathogen content is also greatly reduced. So after 2 to 3 months, we can take out the sludge, which is with the order of the sludge will be less compared to the beginning of the process of the that is taking place in the sludge digestion, and the pathogen content that is present in the sludge also will be get reduced. So in almost all the sludge digester tank or sludge digestion tank, the anaerobic digestion takes place due to the biological oxidation of degradable organic sludge which is carried by the microbes under the anaerobic condition. So anaerobic condition means always in the absence of oxygen, and the organic matter acts as a food source for the microorganisms. So there the decomposition takes place. So most of the microbes they used in this digestion, they are anaerobic or facultative type. Anaerobic bacteria mostly prevail in that sludge digestion tank or facultative type. Facultative type contains a small part of aerobic bacteria also will be there. Since it is in a closed tank, so most probably the condition will be anaerobic. And this process is employed for the treatment of the organic sludge. That is, within the sludge digestion tank, it is a closed tank. In the absence of oxygen, mainly the anaerobic digestion takes place. So that is the second sludge treatment process, that is sludge digestion, which is taking place in a sludge digestion tank.